All right, guys, so today we are doing something special. We are working with one of my biggest supporters, if not the biggest supporter of myself and my company. We are washing my mom's Subaru Outback. So we're gonna do a really in-depth video with this one just because all we're doing is an exterior wash and we don't really have anything else to really cover. So there's really not gonna be a whole lot of time-lapsing. But we're going to start out with just doing a quick walk around of the vehicle and taking a look at what everything is going on with it on the outside. So let's get into that. My mom lives in an apartment complex with a lot of trees. So there's a lot of tree plant matter everywhere. There's some bird poop. This also still definitely has not been washed since the ash fall a few weeks ago. So we're going to be taking care of that. We're going to be real careful with it. For the most part, this shouldn't be that intensive of a wash. It's not the worst I've seen. It definitely isn't. It's definitely not the best, but we're going to take care of it. A couple things to note. You might have noticed it when we were walking around the other side. There is a very large dent in the front fender. It got backed into in a parking lot. Some yahoo wasn't paying attention and just ran into my mom's car. But yeah, I'm gonna get all of my equipment set up and we are going to start tearing into this. All right, so since it's my mom's car, we're gonna be a little bit playful with our soaps. We're doing actually 1-to-1 of Black Lines Ballistic and PNS Pearl. I just kind of wanted to experiment with it, see what the two of them mixed together would behave like. And no better car to do that than a family member's car, because they're not going to be too judgmental if something doesn't go right. That being said, we're doing that in the foam cannon and in the wash bucket. We're going to spray this down with foam real quick, and then we're going to get to washing. So, one thing I've noticed with ballistic, and it's kind of doing it right now, is it's very temperamental about its settings when using it in a foam cannon. So if the settings change at all, it just completely shuts down, stops foaming, and basically just becomes bubbles that you're spraying on the car. Now, that wouldn't normally be an issue. The reason why it is for me is because I have a fairly affordable foam cannon, so it doesn't work as well as a lot of other professional grade ones. So that is definitely going to be a piece of equipment that I change out here in the near future, because that's just not an issue that I want to continue dealing with. That being said, I really want to make sure that I'm making it clear that that is not a problem with the chemical. That is a problem with my equipment. I have, after doing my review on ballistic, my opinions kind of changed a little bit. It's a really good soap. I think that for most people who aren't professionals, it's not going to be a reasonable soap to buy, but I think you definitely get what you pay for with it. So it's kind of a to each their own. Is the cost versus benefit actually worth it to you? For me, I would say I'm about 75% on board. That being said, I'm just a guy on YouTube who details in the small town of Albany, Oregon. You might not necessarily care what my opinion is on a professional grade soap. I'm still gonna give it though. So, you may have noticed in my time lapses that generally speaking, when I am washing a car, I work exclusively in straight lines. The reason being is it kind of guarantees that I am not going to miss some sort of like small area by working in circles. It also makes it to where I'm not installing little swirls and scratches into the paint surface. Those circular motions can really cause a lot of problems for the paint, and can take the contaminant that you're taking off, and it can actually use that to scratch and mar the surface, and we really want to avoid doing that as much as possible. You may have also noticed that sometimes I don't necessarily follow the same set of instructions that I give you guys in my videos. The reason being is when you do something long enough and you know all the rules about how to do it, you know when and where you can break those rules, if that makes any sense. Basically, I have enough experience with detailing that I know when I can and can't skip specific steps. That being said, you can't really do that as someone who is learning. And I'm approaching this as though I'm teaching someone who's never even washed a car. So. right. So, with that, whole car's been scrubbed down. We're gonna spray it down again with just some straight water, get all of the soap off of it. And then from there, we're probably gonna dry all the panels and then hit the wheels. All right, so when it comes to drying aids, call me Jack Harlow because I got options. We could use bead maker like we did on the SRT, or we could use paint gloss. I haven't shown this being used as a drying aid yet, so I think I'm gonna go with this one. We're gonna go drying. So, drying aids, how they work. Lightly mist it onto the surface. Take your towel and pull it across with minimal pressure, and it should pull all of the water off the surface. One of the things that this helps with is avoiding the dreaded water spots. We don't want water spots on our paint. We don't want water spots on our glass. Sure. So, drying aids kind of make it where that's not a factor. You can see this, but as soon as I spray this down, the water just starts running. That's because it's trying to get away from chemical. There's a little bit more science to it than that, but that's like the easiest way to describe it. So, because all things like to follow the path of least resistance, when you do that, and you put a rag on top of it, what it'll do, will run straight to the drying rag, drying towel, I should say. So main surfaces are dry now. We're gonna go and we are going to hit the wheels. These are actually gonna be really easy. We're not gonna get into the barrel on these, so we're just gonna be washing the face and the tire. So we're just gonna spray it down with Brake Buster and then scrub them down with those two brushes and then rinse it off. So, using a pressurized sprayer for things like these is actually really, really beneficial. So, what I do, run around the face, the tire, spray down the face of the wheel, let it sit. While it's sitting, get your brushes in the soap. Turn them over. You'll notice, I don't know if you can notice how far you guys are away from the vehicle, but Brake Buster starts to turn brown. That's it pulling all of the brake dust and debris, just schmoo, off of the tire's tread and wheel face. So, it's been dwelling long enough. So we're going to grab our tire brush. We're just going to scrub back and forth about 4-inch, basically in a 4-inch area. And we're going to move that over about half the length of that stroke. We're going to work over now the tire face. After the first pass, we go a little bit wider. Final pass is just a full circle. Rub that in the soap. Grab our boar's hair brush. Start scrubbing the face. Try to get in all the nooks and crannies that we can possibly find. Just scrubbing it down. Should be done. So there's some spots where I was a little more caked on than others. So we're going to go back with our brush, scrub down those areas where it didn't get all the brake dust off. Spray it down one last time. Perfect. All right, so I'm actually gonna cut off the camera now and basically blast out the last little bits of the wheels and tires off camera, and then we'll come back after we're done. All right, and with that, we are done with the detail on my mom's Outback. I shouldn't say detail, we just did a maintenance wash on it. Just a quick wash to kind of get all the ash and sap and pollen and all that disgusting stuff off the surface, just to make it a little bit better. I'm I'm curious to see how paint gloss is going to hold up as a drying aid / spray wax on this vehicle. And then I think other than that, one of the things that I wanted to say, working as a detailer, a lot of the glitz and the glam and the big stuff comes from doing really fancy cars, really expensive cars, luxury cars, all of that stuff. But people who drive Outbacks and like mom cars, right? They're gonna be the ones who are going to help you market the most, because if you can turn around a car that's been beat up by a bunch of kids and looks disgusting and turn it around to looking really, really good, those people aren't going to stop talking about you. Those are the people who are going to help build your brand. Those are the people who are going to get your name set enough to where the people with the fancy cars start paying attention. So if you are a detailer, don't neglect the moms. Don't neglect the like 9-to-5 people who just have a daily driver that's a beater, has 300,000 miles on it. Take care of your community. Offer your stuff to everyone. Make sure you have pricings that are kind of comfortable for everyone across that spectrum. Maybe don't offer or try to upsell on a full paint correction on a mom car. Maybe don't try to get them on a ceramic coating. You know what I mean? Make sure that your brand is set up to where you can have as big of a customer base as possible, because the bigger your customer base is, the more likelihood you're going to be able to draw customers in while you're trying to build. That being said, once you build up, obviously you can refine your customer base to a specific thing that you want. There's a lot of people who try to get into luxury cars. My main focus is the car enthusiast community, right? That's the Mopar guys, the Chevy guys, the Ford Mustang guys, the import guys, like all of that. Those are the people that I personally want to work with the most, because they're the ones who care the most about their cars, and they're the ones who make their cars something special, and I want to help in that. But I'm not going to sit here and tell Cindy, the soccer mom, that no, I'm not going to detail your minivan. Like, that's not, in my opinion, a good way to go about running this type of business. You might have different opinions on that, and that's completely fine. That's just not for me. That being said, with that big whole rant about marketing, we're going to go and deliver this back to my mom, and then we'll do our closing statements after we're done with that. All right, we just got done delivering the vehicle to my mom. She was really happy with it. She paid me even though I told her not to, so that's a thing. Come on, Mom, let me do nice things for you for once. That being said, I really don't have much else to cover for today. So with that, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, my website, Facebook, and Instagram are all linked down in the description. So if you want to check any of those out and support on those platforms, do so. Remember, every hero is the villain of someone else's story. And with that, have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace. Alright, so for those of you who watch the goofy little end things, I ain't really got anything funny or goofy or small or anything to add, so yeah.